Hi guys, once again, this is Vikas Chand Sharma. As we had discussed last time, in organization behavior, it is about the management administration. We have discussed about the mm, functions of management. Today, we are going to discuss about the levels of management, and then after we'll try to understand how this management thoughts has developed. So first we'll try to understand the management levels, what we have. As you can see in the chart very clearly, there are three levels, top, middle, and lower. So if you talk about the top level management, there, of course, we can include the board of directors in this, right? Why, particularly why these levels are there? Because we have different roles for each level, right? So it is basically the hierarchical structure within the organization, which consists of layers of the authority and we can say responsibility, right? It is possible that the higher authority may delegate the responsibilities and the authorities to the uh, subordinate or to a member in the team. That we'll understand later. But for the sake of understanding, we should understand that there are three levels. Each level has got distinct roles and functions, right? So when you talk about the top level management, there we generally keep all the board of directors, chairman, and who are responsible for setting the organization's overall, you know, goals and the strategies they set. They basically focus on the long-term planning. So they don't talk about like a year's plan or what is going to happen in like next 6 months. No, they are not. They are not concerned about it. For that, other levels are there. They take care of this thing. So basically, what they are looking for long term. So there is a deal which is going to happen probably, and they try to evaluate the impact of that deal probably in next 15 years, right? What kind of benefits I'm going to have in next 10 years, right? How it is going to benefit me in over a period of time, like next 20, 25 years, you know? So that kind of, thought process these people generally get into. Uh, they represent the organization at the external level. They take care of the stakeholders, they take care of the investors, right? And overall, if you say the whole community, right? Um of course, they monitor the organizational performance around regular basis, right? Then you talk about the middle level management where we have the heads and the divisional heads, managers, regional directors, right? They basically translate that strategy which has been fixed or prepared by the top level management, right? They translate that strategies and the into the goals, and they set basically the they set the this thing into the actionable plans, right? So middle level coordinate, middle level managers, you can say, coordinate the activities with the various team members or units. They allocate the resources, ensure that the organizational, goals are met, objectives are met. Then you talk about the lower level, or you can say the frontliners also, in other words, right? Basically, it is operational management, the people actually who work, right? And these are the frontline management, which are into the day-to-day activities, right? So frontline managers supervise employees, assign the task, provide the feedback, right? Resolve the issues, and right, they play a very crucial role in the organization. See, every level, I'm sorry, is very important. They all play the crucial role, but uh, they have all got the different advantages, and I would say not advantages, but weightage, right? That's the right word. So, lower level management also plays a very, very important role, because they take care of the day-to-day activities, they monitor the people, right, who are involved in the frontliners, who are the frontliners rather, right? So this is what about the uh, three levels of the management. Let's talk about the evolution of the management thought, how it has started. Frederick Taylor, generally we know this person by the name of F.W. Taylor, right? This is the very, very renowned name in the evolution of the management thoughts. It is the early contribution, right, which has actually given the shape, uh, you know, the theories what we have today. So Frederick Taylor, scientific management generally we link with this particular name, which is one of the earliest and the most influential, contribution to this evolution is, of the scientific management. Right, the approach basically revolutionized the industrial practices during the late 19 and the early 20th century, right? So you need to also understand the timelines, right? That time people were into the industrialization, they were talking about the workers, right? So please understand the time frame also, because whenever we develop some theory, it is automatically impacted, or basically it gets the hint from that particular environment in which we are. So it is late 19th or early 20th century we are talking about. So if you see today's theory will be different than the earlier theory. Of course, we have taken some hints, some clues, some references from the earlier theories. So to understand, the significance of the scientific management, it is essential to consider the historic context. Right? That is what I'm saying. You need to, bear in mind the time frame. So the late 19th century was characterized by the industrialization. Rapid industrialization was happening there. Technological advancements was there. Rise of mass production was there. So industrialists sought the ways to increase efficiency, reduce the cost, of course, and maximize the output in their factories. Right. So worker perform the task based on the experience and the intuition. Right. So F.W. Taylor, what he proposed several principles uh, to improve on the efficiencies and to improve on the uh, you know, produced manufactured units. Right. In that way, you can say. Out of that, let's talk about the scientific study of the work method, which is one of the principle what F.W. Taylor had spoken about, right? Second is like selection and training of the workers, division of the labor, time and motion study, incentive system. See, understand when you talk about these principles, the moment you talk about incentive system, we will be talking about one theory later on, which deals with the motivation, right? Expectancy theory. We talk about the X and Y theory, right? Maslow's hierarchy theory. We'll be talking about it, and please understand in that incentive system will get converted into the reward system. So things are linked. We generally take the hint from the previous work which has been done already, right? So time frame becomes very, very important, right? To bear in mind, it actually helps us out in understanding why it has happened. It has happened, but why it has happened? There must be some reason, right? Why F.W. Taylor said that incentive is important? He has spoken about the selection and the training of the workers. So why? So why comes in when you analyze the scenario in which people are talking, right? About the scenario in which people are talking, right? So if you talk about the scientific study of work method, Taylor advocated very simply, for the scientific study of the work. He believed that the work process could be broken down into smaller, discrete elements. Now understand this. If you break the work into the smaller and discrete elements, you know, each element could be analyzed to determine the best method of execution. Now, I'm going to link it with the other theory, which says about improving the efficiency of the work. So, test it out, test it out. If you just keep on working at a stretch, your efficiencies will go down. It is suggest, we generally suggest that if you are going to study for that matter, for example, study for 25 minutes, take a 5 minutes break. Then again study for 25 minutes, take a 5 minutes break, right? So why it works? Because during that period, 5 minutes, your brain actually relax, right? So if we'll just break the bigger things into the smaller things, it becomes very easy to get the work done. Otherwise, what will happen? You'll start taking the pressure off it, and probably you will make the mistakes, right? It always work, right? So F.W. Taylor said the same thing. He was talking about the scientific study of the work method, where you are going to break the task into the smaller or discrete elements. So, right? Selection and training is of course important. If you provide the training to the workers, of course their efficiencies will go, right? So division of labor and specialization. This is almost, I will say interlinked with the second point, what we had just spoken, the second principle, where we are talking about the training and development to the worker. Here we are talking about the specialization. So training normally makes the person specialized in that particular field, right? This is very important concept in the HR also. When they talk about the TND, that is training and development, in the organization, when people, HR or the head of the department generally choose the person to whom they are going to, send for the training. They first understand that what is this training all about, and to whom I can send. I can, give the name or ask the person to go for the training, because it is more into the specialization, right? Time and motion study. This is the fourth principle what Taylor had introduced. He used to observe, and he used the observation and measurement, to identify unnecessary movements. Now, criticism is there. See, understand, when you talk about this kind of stuff, criticism will come in picture. When you talk about the observation and measurements to identify unnecessary movements, which reduce the wasted time, it's there, and streamline the workflow also. It's there. But at the same point in time, criticism comes in that it is more into the micromanagement, right? When you talk about the micromanagement, firmly believe, honestly, I firmly believe that micromanagement is the curse. Micromanagement doesn't work at all. This is what I firmly believe. But F.W. Taylor was saying in the context of the workers. And I'm saying in the context of the intellectual people, right? So there are two different poles altogether, right? F.W. Taylor was talking about the workers who are probably, good at the machine level or the tools they can operate, but I'm talking about the intellectual people who are into the strategies or, you know, the policy making. So I'm not contradicting, but certainly micromanagement, this is what I feel that it is good. So I just expressed this thing here. I thought this needs to be elaborated. And please take it the way I said. I'm talking about the intellectual group when I say that micromanagement is cursed, right? So if you say the impact of the uh, this thing scientific management, increase productivity, standardization of the work, development of the management science, right? And influence on the organization theory. So it is very clear that productivity was improved as you are supervising the people, you are reducing the wasted time, right? Automatically the things will improve, right? There is a set system of doing the work, so standardization of the work automatically will happen, right? Then you talk about the development of the management science. Uh, this is basically work analysis, time and motion studies, right? Uh, Incentive systems provided, this systematic framework to manage the organization, right? So this is important uh, impact which has happened. Then we talk about the criticism, as I said, that exploitation of the labor. This automatically comes in picture because you are actually doing micromanagement where uh, people are moving from one place to another. Probably they are tired or something has happened, but you are just doing the micromanagement, right? So at times it is very, very demotivating, and for the workers also, and for intellectual people, I am very sure. I still say I firmly believe it is big time no to have the micromanagement. You cannot. You just cannot, right? But at the lower level, it is okay. And the frontliners, where they are good at the machinery, they are good, actually producing the units. There, it is okay up to certain level. But certainly, at times people get irritated. So exploitation, they start talking about, right? This fellow, the picture, if you see, this fellow is the genius, right? He has done a lot of contribution is there of this fellow in the management thoughts. Then second, if you talk about the resistance from the workers, of course it will happen because you lack of flexibility was not there. People were micromanaging, right? So many workers resisted the implementation of the scientific management. Why scientific management? Because it was based on the motion, it was based on the time, right? Basically, it was analyzing, right? People, laborers started, or doing these strikes or, unrest the common industry ambience or, or the work. So, yeah, when something new happens, it is very, very simple that few things will get upset, right? So, this is basically the criticism of the scientific management. But yes, I firmly, I admire this person, F.W. Taylor, because he has contributed a lot in the management, right? So nowadays, if you see despite the criticism, contemporary relevance, if you talk about, despite the criticism, scientific management remains very, very relevant, right, in the contemporary organization also. I'm talking about that only, right? I have worked in the industry there. I've seen the things, I've experienced the things, right? So it actually works. It actually works, right? So second person who is very, very, again, has done a good job, very good contribution given by Henry Fayol, right? If you see, I mean, if you see, these people have contributed a lot, right? From 19, 1841 to 1925, if you see this fellow, Henry Fayol, right? This fellow has clear-cut given 14 principle of management, uh, which is working till date. I mean, there is no deviation, right? So Henry Fayol work is again very, very important. The 14 principle, if you talk about the division of work, that is one. This is very important. Division of work, right? Also, you can say known as the specialization. So understand the previous work which has happened in the tenure of F.W. Taylor, right? Frederick was talking about the specialization. This person also is talking about the specialization. But in the other words, he said that division of labor is important. So why division of labor is important? If someone is good in one thing, that work should be given to that fellow. So if you're good in accounts, you should go into the accounts, or if you are good into the, producing the smaller parts of the of some product, you should be there itself, right? So a manager's job is basically to identify in which you are good. Like we generally say, like in the last session we were talking about, management is more into the putting right resource, the right job, right? So division of work is important. Then you talk about the authority and the responsibility. This is again very, very important. Authority refers to the right to give orders, right, and make decisions, wherein responsibility is the obligation. But both come, both go hand in hand. If you have the authority, you need to take the responsibility also. If something goes wrong, you are responsible for that. So accountable for that. Accountability has to be there. So all emphasize that authority and responsibility should go hand in hand, and managers must have the authority to issue orders, but not, but also bear the responsibility for the outcome. So if I'm the manager, I say that only 20 people are required here, and if the work is not done, then I need to bear the consequences also. I need to take the responsibility. Discipline is the third one, which is again very important. It is important in all the aspects, I would say, not only in the management, but even in the life, right? So discipline implies the obedience, you can say, right? Respect for the authority, right? Now, see, when you talk about such thing, respect for the authority in organization, uh, power comes in two ways, right? Power comes in two ways. One is authority, like the designation, what you have. With the designation, you get the authority and the powers. The other one is you don't get the designation, but you get the powers just because of the way you work in the organization, the way you treat people, your interpersonal skills, and of course, the quality of the work. That is utmost important, right? So at times this happens that in the organization, a manager is younger to the people who are working in the organization and his team. So at times it becomes a big time problem to manage these things. For the manager, I've also, experienced this scenario where I was like only, you know, uh, 27, 28 years of age, and I become the authority, right? I become the branch manager, and then I was having the team of people who were the team age was like, few people were like 44, 45 that time. So when you get such kind of scenario there in the organization, it becomes a little tough to handle this thing. We'll talk about it, how we can handle such situation. I have already done it. I'll share my experience also, apart from uh, the knowledge what we are having in the in the text format. Then it is again important, unity of command. Unity of command, I think it is the most important. Everyone should move in the right direction. Unity of direction is again important, right? So the unity of command is basically that uh, what work needs to be done, this thing will be given by one authority only. If there are multiple authorities will give multiple orders and people will not be able to do anything. What I generally feel, in the organization, Dotted line reporting is one of the big time problem what employees are facing. Dotted line reporting, right? So what happens in dotted line reporting? You must have read it in the human resource management, but I'll just give you in one line. When you talk about the dotted line reporting, there you have one senior whom you are reporting directly, right? Who is going to give you the appraisals and other thing. And then dotted line reporting is someone where you are associated with that particular fellow because you're working on certain project, right? Which comes under his or her purview. So you start, reporting to that fellow also. It is big time problem because there are various challenges. I'll share where if at all we get time someday. So we'll share it. I'll share it. But yes, this unity of command and unity of direction is very, very important. All the people should have the one command, and all the people will move in the single direction, right? Multiple direction, if the people will move, of course, the efficiencies will go down and things will not happen the way it should be, and organization will not be able to achieve the goals. Subordination of the individual interest to the general interest, right? This is very, very important. Like we always say, that the individual goals, have got no place when you work in the organization. Organization goal is important, right? Mm, if your goal is in sync with the organization goal, nothing like it. Why? Because you will enjoy the work like anything. Uh, but your goal, your individual employees' individual goal is different than the organization goal, then of course the conflict will happen. We'll talk about it. Conflict of interest will happen, right? And results will not be such which we are looking for. So subordination of the individual interest to the general interest, it is very, very important. Remuneration is again very, very important. People should not feel that whatever work they are doing, they are not getting paid accordingly, right? Because it is a big time demotivating factor. I tell you, this is big time hygiene factor. Later on, we'll talk about one theory here, hygiene factor, we'll talk about. Remuneration comes under that, right? Salaries are like, okay, salaries is the hygiene factor, right? That is important, right? So fair and equitable compensation should be provided. This is a simple meaning. Centralization refers to the concentration of the decision making authority. Now you can link it with the unity of command also, right? Centralization refers to the concentration of authority or decision making authority, at the top level management. So all basically acknowledged that the degree of centralization should be based on the focus, such as the size of the organization, its objectives, uh, competence, right, of the managers. Now, one thing I want to talk about here, smaller the organization, easier to manage that. Bigger the organization, it becomes tough to manage it. Now, when organization grows, decentralization happens. It becomes inevitable to have the decentralization because one single authority cannot manage 100 odd people or probably more. But if you just have the small pockets, small, you know, authorities there, right? Decentralization, you delegate the task, you give them the authority, right? Then it can easily be managed. We'll talk about the organization structure and that it will get easily clear. Then we talk about the scalar chain represents the uh, formal chain of authority and communication within the organization, right? So scalar chain basically helps in establishing the clear lines of communication, right? And minimizing the distortion. It's simple, right? Then we talk about the orders, equity, stability of tenure of personnel, initiative, and esprit de corps. Esprit de corps simply means that, you know, teamwork. Now you can link it with the unity of command, you can link it with the individual goal to the general goal. When goal is same for everyone, people can easily work as a team. When you are working in a team, this is what the principle is all about. Esprit de corps, your efficiencies will go up, right? We talk about the equity. Managers should uh, you talk about the equity, managers should treat employees with fairness, and the impartiality, biasness should not be there, right? We should, it is very, very important, but practically it is at times you don't see such things in the organization, but one thing for sure that, biasness, the moment it comes in, it automatically gives the space for the politics also. So, a good manager is the manager who is unbiased. Let it be gender, let it be the any other thing, right? Partiality has should not be there. Managers should treat employees equally. Fairness has to be there, impartiality has to be there, justice has to be there. Right? This is very, and this motivates people. Trust me, this motivates people, right? I have seen people, I have seen even in my team, I have seen my colleague getting more targets than, what the other people are getting, right? So it is what, this is the biasness, right? So these are the 14 principle of Henry Fayol, which has worked. Still, we are very much taking help from these 14 principles, right? We are using it. We talk about the bureaucracy. We talk about the bureaucracy. The moment we talk about bureaucracy, it is basically a system of administration, you know, system of administration characterized by the hierarchical structure, right? So in bureaucracy, one thing is very simple, hierarchy. It is important. In the bureaucracy, hierarchy is there, division of labor is there, formal rules and procedures. People move in that ways only, otherwise people will not do, right? Hierarchy structure, division of labor, formal rules, right? Impersonal relationships. Bureaucracies emphasize impersonal, rule-based interactions rather than the personal relationship or favoritism. So in the organization, bureaucracy work, right? People are talking to each other, but at the same point in time, it doesn't mean that they have got, some personal favoritism, right? Whatever comes in with the rules and the regulation, accordingly, the work will be done. It is more into the, merit-based recruitment and the promotion. Bureaucratic organizations normally, typically employ a merit-based system. So those who have got the merits will get promoted. Those who are missing that, they will remain there, right? So that's how it happens in the bureaucracy. We talk about the specialization of the knowledge, right? This is again, if you link it with the Fayol principle or division of work or this Frederick, if you just link it, you will get to know easily that we are talking about the specialization of the knowledge. Without the specialization, nothing will happen. Right. So that is the main reason why human resource department in the organization normally try to give the training and develop the or employees so that they get specialized in some work, one particular work or two particular work, and then they give the better results, right? See, final objective is to earn profit for every organization, right? So organization can earn more and more profit when you produce more and more units and when you sell more and more units, right? So you reduce the costing if you talk from the production side. If you talk from the marketing side, you need to reduce per customer costing and increase the price of the product, right? Margins rather, I would say, right? From the production side, if you again talk, you need to reduce the cost price. So all those things. So when a person is, specialized in that, then only these people will, be able to give you the better results. So this is again important. Official record keeping, bureaucratic organization normally maintains the comprehensive and systematic records of their activities, decisions, and the transactions, right? So official records, serves as a means of the documenting organization's process, right? You need to track the performance, you need to ensure accountability, right? So for all those things, these record keeping is very, very important. You talk about the other one is rationality and the efficiency, right? Bureaucracies basically strive for rationality and the efficiency in their organization. Formal channel of communication and standardization and the uniformity. This is again very, very uh, important element, I would say. And Weber has, explained this thing properly and why it is important, right, for any organization. Then you talk about the human approach, which also generally we know this thing as the human relation approach, right? So human relation approach basically talks about the focus on the employee welfare. The moment you talk about human approach or human touch, of course, one word comes in picture, you can easily link it with, and that word is empathy. And I am the person who advocate, who support this statement where, where we say that the empathy is more important or can do wonders in comparison to the sympathy. Right? Sympathy is no longer needed. Empathy is the key word. In today's word, contemporary or, in today's scenario, empathy is important. Now, empathy is something where you are feeling the the thought process or the you know things which the other person is going through. So focus on employee welfare is very, very important, right? Human touch becomes human touch when we say human approach, when we say I need to have the empathetic mindset, right? I need to empathize with my team members, with my you know organization employees, so that you know probably I can give the solution and they will feel very, very motivated. Now, this is again it will come in the hygiene factor theory. We'll talk about this thing in detail, right? Of course, these things come from the earlier work which has happened. So these all theories will be, interlinked, right? So human approach places a significant emphasis on the well-being and the satisfaction of the employee. You talk about the importance of the informal group. That is again very, very important. And I'm the person of that opinion where I say that you are lucky if you get one person in the organization, at least one person in the organization with whom you can share whatever you want, right? Irrespective of your, nature of the thought, let it be personal or the professional, whatever it is, irrespective of that, you can share anything to everything with that fellow. You become, trust me, then you are lucky. Because in the organization, generally people don't find such people, right? At times, and it becomes big time problem. If you are able to share the things, that time your problems get sorted, right? This is there, right? So importance of the informal group, if you talk about the human approach, acknowledges the influence of the informal group and the social dynamics. It is very, very important. It is possible at times, people have the informal group within the department and inter-department also. So if somebody is working in the production department, other person is working in the finance department, they have their own informal group. It is possible, right? And that actually, put in a lot of impact, right? It impacts on the behavior, on the attitude, and the performance also. So managers are encouraged to understand and leverage this informal group. At times, what happens? This is more into the psychology. When you have the informal group, you feel very, very, uh, you know, respected. At times, you feel very high always, right? So recognition of the individual differences, that is again, it is very important to understand this. Uh, when you talk about the individual differences, see, every human being is different human being, right? They think differently, they act differently. So of course, individual differences are bound to happen. Right. So human approach recognizes that employees have the unique abilities, unique personalities, backgrounds, they have different motivation. So this is manager's job to adopt a more personalized approach to leadership and the management. Right. So taking into this thing account individual differences and tailoring their strategies to meet the diverse need of the employees, right? You talk about the emphasis on the communication. As I said in the last session, communication is the backbone. I mean, without communication, nothing will happen, right? So communication is again very, very important. Promotion of participation, recognition, and reward. Recognition and reward is very, very important, right? At times, people, get highly motivated with the recognition and reward. But one thing for sure I would like to talk about, when you say about the incentives or the recognition or the rewards, that needs to be done timely. What does it mean? I'll explain it with the example. So if suppose there are certain some projects, some work which needs to be done probably in 2 days time, and you have given this task to the one person in your team, and clearly mentioned that if you'll do this task in 2 days time, you will get rewarded by X or Y thing, maybe the money or maybe some gift or something else, I don't know, it could be anything, right? So that fellow takes the challenges, accomplish the task within 2 days, the prescribed time what you have given. Now it is your turn to give him or her the reward. If you don't do it quickly, let's say in a day, a couple of days, then it will become a factor which will demotivate the employee. But if you do it immediately, like in a couple of days, then it will highly motivate the person. It will motivate the person big time. We talk about, right? So this is important. Another thing is the focus on the leadership and the motivation, right? And continuous learning and development. This particular part is very, very important. Continuous learning and development. Without that, a person will not be able to survive for long. Things are changing. The only constant thing is the change, right? So things are changing. Technology advancement is happening. Some other new things are happening in the organization across the globe, probably. You need to learn. You need to learn so that you can develop. Without that, there will be problem, right? You talk about the modern approach. Uh, I'll stop here. I'll stop here. We'll take this modern approach in the next session. Okay. And if you have any question, please let me know so that I can answer that, right? Probably through the mail. Okay. Now, I'll stop here so that In the next session, we'll take the modern approach. We'll start from there. Thank you so much, guys. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye. Take care.
Family is the genesis of this group.
Family is everything for us.
They know the nitty-gritty of what needs to be done.
We're each other's building blocks.
It has never been two families. It has always been one.
પરિવાર એ જ સર્વસ્વ છે.
Without family, I think we would lose my sense of direction. So the Marwari Group's foundation, I think, comes from the desire to prosper. Starting with Marwari Shares and Finance, the retail financial services business, and primarily into stock markets and stock broking segment in India. Essentially, we have 110 odd branches across Gujarat, Maharashtra, about 4 lakh customers or 400,000 customers. It's a business that's stood the test of time.
એટલે એ અમારા ફાધરના ટાઈમથી આવ્યું છે કે આપણે કોઈ પણની અપેક્ષા વગર કોઈને પણ સપોર્ટ કરવો કે એવું નહોતું એમ કે કોઈ પણ નીડ બેઝ હોય કે કાંઈ પણ ઓર્ગેનાઇઝેશનમાં સ્ટાફ હોય એને આપણે ફેમિલીની જેમ જ ગણીએ છીએ કોઈ દી સ્ટાફ તરીકે કે એવું ગણતા નથી એમ.
Then we talk about Marwari University, which was founded in 2009 by my father, and Jeetubai Chandarana is the co-founder of the Chandarana family.
We started as just 360 student with just 5 classes on ground. But at the same time, the vision was huge.
We are now at 11,000 students, and it's a 35-acre campus.
અને એ બધું 100% વિઝન એનું જ છે અને આખું એન્ટાયર નેટવર્ક યુનિવર્સિટીનું એ જ જોવે છે.
Creating new generational students, helping them to do well in life needs multi-dimensional approaches these days.
So that's how we started that let's do something for society and to give something which is missing in this country. So that's how we started setting up this university.
So Marwari Chandarana Intermediaries and Brokers Private Limited. So that entity is in partnership with the Chandarana family, Jeetubai Chandarana, Nishit Chandarana, and Amish Chandarana. So that's about proprietary and algorithmic trading, where we've got about 1,500 plus traders directly, indirectly working with us.
ત્યારે મેં હંમેશા વિચાર્યું છે કે કોઈ પણ બિઝનેસથી એવી રીતે કરવો જોઈએ કે જે સ્કાય ઇઝ ધ લિમિટ હોવી જોઈએ. એમાં કંઈ લિમિટેશન હોવા જ ન જોઈએ. તમારી જેટલી કેપેસિટી વધે એટલું તમારે કામ આગળ ને આગળ તમારી પાસે હોવું જ જોઈએ.
So far what we are traditional broker with, of course, a pinch of all the new age technology available in our business.
I am a hardcore trader. I am always on the screen. I used to hear the talks about markets, business on the dinner table. So it was always fascinating about joining stock markets at an early age. So that's how I joined them, my father and my brother.
Business and the partnership is just based on trust.
It's not just one person who is going to achieve success. It's all of us together who are going to reach our goal and achieve success.
Most recent business we've entered is Pixin Energy. We've entered energy as a sector and power as a sector.
We have around 200 people now, and one question, when we ask, why do you want to join Pixin? They have, this one standard answer that it's a group, it's a part of the Marwadi family, and that's why we want to join.
That belongingness, that ownership should come if you treat them like your family members.
The most recent business and the latest one is One Finance, which I founded. One Finance is essentially a reimagined personal finance institution.
We started with building it on multiple values and all that, but we just wanted that one word that can define that why do we exist. And then finally we realized that just by being honest, everything else falls in line,
So we offer unbiased, qualified and hyper-personalized advice on one's personal finances.
We have always believed in, building up the relationship
with clients and our authorized partners who are, pillars for our success, I would say.
If you don't have people whom you share your success or prosperity, then it has no relevance on its own. So Believe family is a effort. As united, we achieve something. And we all three brothers, told our father, no, we will not take this risk. But he said, no, I'm going ahead with it, whether you join us or not. And that's how we are today where we are. So it was his courage, his entrepreneurship, and his ability to see future. I think that's what made us today what we are.
યંગર જનરેશન પાસેથી તો ઘણું શીખવા મળ્યું છે જે અમને અત્યારે નવું જે યંગર જનરેશન ડેવલપ કરે છે સારી ભાવનાથી સારી રીતે.
They are carrying the legacy forward, and I'm very proud to know that and to share even that. I mean, it's a very proud thing for us.
દરેક વસ્તુઓ છે એ પેરેન્ટ્સે પણ સમજવી પડે કે તમે એને એની રીતે કરવાની છૂટ આપો. એના અત્યારના જનરેશન પ્રમાણે એને આગળ વધવા દો.
They have an open mind to take it to the next level and exploring other ways, the ways that may not have worked for them.
Like every generation learns from new generation. Like what my father couldn't do, we did it. What we don't understand, they are doing it.
I think the Marwari Chandarana Group represents and lives purpose. It represents and lives impact. It represents and lives creating sustainable long-term businesses and organizations. And Marwari Chandarana Group represents, taking risks where it matters, not just for themselves, but those who we impact directly and indirectly, right? So we employ about 4,500 people across all organizations. We've got about 5 lakh customers, students, so on and so forth. We've designed the business model in a way where the customer and the people's interest, directly or indirectly, is at the heart of our business. So we're a people-centric company. We're not a customer-centric or an employee-centric company. Without our values, Marwari and Marwari Chandarana Group won't be where it is today.